Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paper Guy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
Mr. Magazine.
Yes.
Have you noticed anything about the comic book and or sports card market over the last couple of years, let's say?
I would say it's been very volatile, but also it's been in a decline.
It has been
For
trending
the
down.
for the most part.
Yeah, right. There's always exceptions.
Most comics and most cards are trending down. There's still the Mickey Mantle $1 million card and that rare stuff, but for the most part, yes, definitely.
And it's interesting. I've been going online, doing some searching, and there are various people out there that have indexes, and there's a couple of different indexes out there. But what they've done is they've taken 50 blue chip sports cards.
Yeah.
And a mix. So have like a LeBron James, some good LeBron James rookie in there, some Tom Brady rookie, along with some Mantles from the 50s and things like that. And then in the comics, they actually not only do that, but they also break it down into 50 desirable Golden Age, 50 desirable Silver Age, Bronze, Copper, and Modern Age as well. And they also have indexes with wrestling cards and basketball cards and all these various things. There's a lot of different people out there tracking the various markets. And we're doing this as of early November. And there were two card areas that were trending upward. One of them I remember was wrestling.
Okay.
And the other might have been tennis or something like that.
How about racing, maybe?
No, I think it was tennis and wrestling, as I remember.
Okay.
And everything else was trending downward.
Wow.
In there, and with the comic books, things they'd hit their low for the year. And again, I'm going to make this up because I don't know exactly how it's made up, but you got these 50 comics in X grade. Sales are tracked, and I guess if there are no sales, it keeps the same prices as the last month would make sense.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at, I don't know, a 6.0 or whatever it is, and it's hit the lowest point of the year in November, late October, early November, the lowest point, and it's been trending downward as well. So that brings up a question, Mr. Magazine.
Yes.
Should you time the market? When should you buy? What should you do? Take it away.
Good question.
I just said a mouthful.
Yeah. Definitely, you should buy. I mean, if you have comic knowledge and you've been buying, selling comics like we have for years, you kind of know when something it's at its low point. So then I would say certainly buy when it's at its low point if you can afford it. And then it may be Amazing Fantasy 15 used to be 50,000 and a 5, and now it's 35,000. Well, if you got 35,000 to invest in, it's probably a good investment at some point.
Well, I guess the flip side of that as well is you'll never, unless you're extremely lucky, hit the bottom of the market. You buy it at 35, it may continue down to 32.
Yeah.
However, it's going to hit the floor and move back up, a comic like that. Now, we are definitely talking good comics, blue chip comics. We're not talking about, this character appeared in the back of a Marvel movie, and there's rumors they might be in another one, so people all run out and try to buy it, and all of a sudden it went from a $20 book to a $150 book, and like the Eternals #1, and the movie wasn't very good, so it's turning down. That one I wouldn't buy on expecting a bounce back, because there are a lot of those out there. We're talking good comics, very, very good comics. So if you bought it at the 35, it may go down a little more after that. I can guarantee, as much as you can possibly guarantee, that 10 years from now, it's worth more than the 35,000.
Sure, absolutely.
And if it's not, we're in a world of hurt far beyond your comic book purchase.
And I think part of it right now is, since COVID, it's been up and down. Everything's generally higher than it was before COVID, even with the trending down right now. And the key is just to hang in there long enough. I mean, they're gonna go up. It was 10%,
eventually.
10% a year or so. So it's a good investment. It's like buying stock, but you're never gonna spend $50,000 on a comic and it's worth zero. It's never gonna happen, especially with comics. It's not like sports cards where a player can get injured, and his career's done and then forget about it. But comics, they're always going to be out there. The comics, the movies, and so forth. So to me, it's a solid investment compared to sports cards.
And another thing over there with that, well, number one, you've got the various things. You've got the Eternals, things like that. And again, those are things that people were running out and speculating on. Right. And there's a difference between speculating and actually buying and holding.
Yeah.
And, yes, you can still make money in it, but I tend to buy things that I like. As far as that goes, the various comic books that I like. So even if the price goes down, I've still got something that I like in my collection. Right. One thing that I definitely have noticed in Heritage, because that's where I go a lot of times to take a look and bid on things, is they'll tell you over there what sales they've had in a given grade. So say I'm looking at, Fantastic 452. Which is the first appearance of Black Panther. Say I'm looking for that book, and it's in a 6.0, and I don't even know what that goes for. Yeah. But let's just say that that the last one sold for $1,200, and then you look and you'll see that right in the height of the pandemic, it sold for $1,900, and then you'll see something, some sale in 2005 was like $225.
Yeah.
Well, you can kind of throw that $225 out the window. We're never going to see that price again. But you'll see, $1,900 and then $1,200, and then you'll be $1,300, and then it'll be $1,000, then it'll be $1,100. Yeah. So a book like that, I would bid like $650 or $700 on, figuring if the bottom absolutely drops out, I'm getting a good deal.
Yeah.
It also lists in there what the guide price is, and in the height of the pandemic, you absolutely could throw the guide out. You would have a book, and it would say that the VF price, very fine price, in the guide was $650. And it would be going, now granted, it is graded, that has a little extra value because it's graded, but it'd be going for $1,100, $1,200.
Like double, yeah.
Things like that.
Yep.
Then I noticed that about the beginning of 2023, they were going for about $675, $700, maybe $650 every now and then. So it was basically going for guide.
Yeah.
Now on many comics, I'm seeing they're going for $450 when the guide's $650.
Yeah.
They're actually going for under guide right now, graded.
Well, I think part of it too, going before the pandemic, say Amazing Fantasy 15, you go on eBay, maybe there's 10 on there, 5 graded, 5 raw. Now you got the pandemic, everyone's spending money, everyone's going crazy, everyone's selling theirs and taking theirs out of the woodworks, getting them graded. So you went from 10 at your disposal to maybe 30 or 40, which is certainly going to water down the market. So with comics and sports cards during the pandemic, everyone was grading stuff because people were spending money. And now you have way more in circulation that were out there, but we didn't know it. Now everyone's selling them because, maybe Amazing Fantasy 15 was 20 or 30 grand in a certain grade, and now it's 40 or 50. Well, hey, let me get mine graded and sell mine. So, it went from 10 available to maybe 50 available. So it's kind of watering the market until it dries up again. Maybe 2, 3, 4 years. It might take that many years for it to dry up, and there's less available online, and then more demand.
And that actually brings up a good point as well. There have been, throughout time, warehouse finds of things. And there are some things that never recover from the warehouse finds. They just don't. There is not enough demand for them, and they'll be out there.
Oh, Heroes Inc., yeah.
Heroes Inc., Major Inapac, or whatever the name of that one is. There's a couple of them like that. But there are other warehouse finds that are out there that, in the end, the market can absorb them because they're good enough. Now, you may see a downward trend for a period of time while the market gets all of those into it. Mm-hmm. But over time, there are enough collectors of certain things that it just doesn't matter. So I guess you're not going to hit the bottom of the market. If you do have some extra money right now, and we know sports cards and we know comic books, you may know stamps, you may know coins, you may know something like that. As long as it's something that has an established collector's base. I'm not talking Beanie Babies. Personally, I wouldn't touch things like Magic or Pokemon because I don't know enough about them.
Yeah.
And I don't know at all how sustainable it is for the long term. Now, Magic's been around, 30 years now or something like that. Yeah. And Pokemon has been around 25 or whatever it is their cards have. So, apparently there is a market for those. I would probably stay away from graded movies. I would probably stay away from graded video games because those markets are still a little too new. And I think they're going to be very volatile for a while until the true rarity and the true grades become known.
Yep.
What about action figures and things like that?
I think it's a solid investment. It's kind of like comics. These are, figures that are in movies, they're in comic books. They're never going to get injured or, get in a fight with someone and go to jail. So it's a more solid investment than speculating on, a sports card, basketball rookie player that, like Shaq. Shaq was great. His cards went up and then they dropped, So I stay away from speculating on rookies for sports cards. But yes, toys I think are a good investment, especially vintage stuff.
Well, I do have a question for you, though, about that, Mr. Magazine.
Sure.
They've been grading cards for, 30 years?
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Sure.
They've been grading comics for 25 years, something other like that.
Yeah.
They've been grading coins for 40 years. At this point, with coins, certainly, and also with comics and sports cards, you know what's rare. You know what's tough to find in what grade. Leaving out that Magic Warehouse find that I suddenly find 500 copies of Action Number 1 in high grade. Leave out that warehouse find. You know that these cards or comics and cards and coins are rare. Has there been enough of a history in action figures to know for certain what a tough grade is and how many there are out there of them? How long have they been grading action figures?
Geez, I bet close to 15, 20 years.
Okay.
Now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just, take Star Wars. I mean, they've been around since '77. Whether they're graded or not, you know what's rare there. You know what's a good condition if you know how to grade stuff. But yeah, definitely, I think it's established and definitely worth grading. Yeah.
And one other question for you. This is kind of off a little bit on a tangent, but I don't like to talk to you off camera. So, do people get things graded, like things that are right now in Toys R Us? Well, there's no Toys R Us, but yeah.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah, because I'll do searches on graded Star Wars, and there'll be new ones that just came. They'll break them out of a case, and they'll get it. Say you get a 9.2 on one or whatever. They will price it crazy. If they say a $50 figure, they're going to put $500 on it.
Wow.
If it's me and I had 500, I'd buy a 1977 graded figure. But to each his own. Some people might be collecting it series, and they're going to think it's a rare one at some point and go up in value. Who knows? But yeah, people do it. Yeah, people definitely do that. Wow. If they think it's perfectly mint, you can get a high grade. Sure.
Wow. Very interesting on that. So hopefully it helps you a little bit. I know if you've got a little bit of extra money, I can think of worse places to put it at than in vintage collectibles. I think that they will hold their value long term. They may, again, have some dips. We may be doing a similar video from this a year from now saying now is the time to buy. Who absolutely knows? We don't know where things are going to go at. One last thing I want to leave you with is I know inflation has gone down, but it's still out there. If you think of sports cards, comic books, coins, whatever it is you collect as a store of value, remember if you end up with high inflation, the value of those things is going to go up as well. So if I took $1,000 and invested it in a comic book today and there's 10% inflation, or I take that $1,000 and I leave it sitting under my mattress, 5 years from now, that $1,000 I have under my mattress is still $1,000, which will have purchasing power of, I don't know, $600. The comic hopefully has gone up with the inflation, and at that point you sell it, and at least then you've still got purchasing power out of it as well. So it's a way to lock things in. So I certainly wouldn't drain my 401k and go buy these, certainly not. But if you got a little extra money and you know a little bit about it, wouldn't necessarily be a bad time to lock in things because, again, you're not going to hit the bottom. And too often what ends up happening is you say, oh, I should have bought because you see the prices going up. And then various people get into what they call FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh, I got to buy now. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You're buying now when you could have bought 3 months ago for $500. Now you're paying $700 and rushing to get in.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
We will not be asking you what's wrong with you if you hit the like button. We would really appreciate that. And we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.